Alrighty, Zachary. It has been lovely chatting with you so far this morning. You and I briefly went over the role and the duties that it entails for the bid coordinating position. Zachary, I would love to get started with our interview. I simply just want to highlight a few key items that I have on looking at your resume here. As far as industry and previous experience, so I see here that you have that estimating, that bidding experience. You've worked as a project coordinator. You've worked in construction as well, as far as being a laborer, a pipe layer, of course. You worked with fire alarm designs as well as an office manager. All in those roles, you have done the bidding or the estimating. So Zachary, I would love for you to touch base as far as your experience as a bid coordinator or an estimator.
So as bid coordination is concerned, I have definitely started. Let's start off with our first plumbing experience as far as that's concerned. A lot of those bids, as we know, they go into a system that goes into being accepted. A lot of that system goes into RPOs, management, price adjusting, parts adjusting, and all of that to create your final product, whether that product be painting, whether that product be plumbing. You always going to have parts and supplies, labor adjusted to that as well. And you have to organize that in a spreadsheet, make sure that it's presentable to your person. Now, within that, you got to make sure it's presentable to that person or said company, your contractor, to the right degree. Now, is your contract going to be too high? Is your contract going to be too low? That's the most important part about bidding, is you got to find that nice middle ground. Now, we got to know what we're dealing with, who we are as a company, our product, what we provide. So by our, star quality rating, which I'm assuming I'm getting into, is going to be, hey, we want to hit our mark, go from there, see what the customer is going to come back with is, do they accept our contract? You can go through numbers and logistics all day. That's going to be spreadsheets and just finding out price cost of material. That's all that part. The other part that comes with bidding is following up and making sure you create communications with your customer, your contractor. It's kind of like following up with the job that I'm trying to apply for today. If I apply for a job and I don't follow up and go, hey, I am actually here and committed to provide for you guys the service that I want to provide, what does that kind of show? We're just throwing numbers at the board. Start. So right now I want to play cricket with this game, and I want to hit all the numbers in the exact point and complete the game hopefully before the other guy does.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and you said the story well, right? So I agree. You touched a few points, so I agree with that. I really want to touch base as far as your organization when it comes to the bid, Zachary. So what steps did you take to stay organized and managing multiple bids at a time?
That's gonna have to a lot to do with, well, coordination with your team. That's first and foremost what we want to provide. So first and foremost, I need to know what we want to provide. And to communicate those steps down is, all right, this is this project, this is this project, this is that project. Well, as far as that's concerned, I'm a paper guy a little bit, but I will throw that over to, so I'll meticulously write down my notes throughout the day. And as far as that's concerned, I typically just follow a spreadsheet. And I follow that spreadsheet through number pricing, previous experiences. I'll keep those on separate tabs so I can go back and look at, previous faults. That's one thing that I do look at, is previous fault. Where did we lose this sale? I like to focus on the sales that we've gained and companies that we've earned our trust with, but also those faults. With that being said, I take where, hey, we might have not been able to provide this, we might not have been able to provide this, so and so forth. But what I like to do is create a structure through those Excel sheets, through those notes, through some Word documents as well, and create a trickle-down process where I actually analyze each and every step along the way. It is a complicated question. It's a loaded question. It all kind of stems from keeping your folders organized on the computer aspect. I don't like an overload of folders. I like simplicity is sometimes better. That's why I like paper as well. But as far as my bidding process is concerned, and following to make sure that I'm staying organized within the areas that are needed. It's organization. As much as we hate being organized, as much as we like to say, hey, oh, I'll let that plate just sit there for a minute. No, it just got to be done now. Just throw it in the folder. Just make sure you stay organized. With that being said, your folders within that organization, you just can't just throw that into folders. You got to make sure each of those are step by step labeled appropriately. Now, depending on the company I'm working for, your labels are going to be what your labels want to be. I'm sure there's probably already a folder process. Oh, you got to follow that process. Make sure you're labeling and going accordingly to that spectrum.
That's right. That's right. Sounds like you keep a lot of mental notes, written notes, as well as, being organized via Excel. So yeah, the multiple avenues as far as being organized.
I'd love to give
So
a more in-depth perception of it. I mean, I guess, for instance, if I was bidding, say, a plumbing remodel job, it's where I'm most adept with a plumbing remodel job. Actually, I can do this. Say if I was doing a bid for painting a pool deck. I've done pool experiences with my plumbing. So painting a pool deck, we've had to quote out painting materials and bids and stuff before. And a lot of it has to also do with what's the color, where's your supplier, other things. There's coordination that you have to do with those guys to see if you can find the right prices. I'm sure these guys possibly have, the wife and husband possibly have their own suppliers that they use. So I got to coordinate with those guys and see, hey, what's the price of this paint? What can we do with our margins? What can I charge for this and be acceptable? And that's kind of goes into the customer service side of things a little bit too. Know who your customer is and at the same time. So there's blind bids and then there's also call bids. So blind bids, I've been on multiple sites helping my master plumber send out bids to multiple sites saying, hey, let's just throw this bid out there. And at the same time, I've had personal conversations with custom builds where we talk, bids over and things of that nature.
yeah, and I appreciate you giving me that example that you just mentioned with the pools and the materials that it comes with that. That really just shows your exposure when it comes to bidding, estimating for certain materials. So I appreciate that example, Zachary. My last question for you is going to be, what skills do you have that sets you apart from other candidates who may also be applying to the same job as you?
Camaraderie. I'm a team player to a fault, unfortunately. Sometimes not unfortunate, but to a fault. I'm a team player. I put the company before myself a lot of times. Not that I don't care about me and my family and my kids and things of that nature, but a camaraderie. It's a team game for me. And and that's how it's gonna be in life. And you can't do this solo. So.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. There's no I in team. So always being a team player, like you mentioned, to a fault. Sometimes it hinders us, but if it's beneficial to the company and to our team, hey, that's what we're there for.
And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I hope my employer sees that as well. It's hey, let's work hand in hand, and it's not like I'm going to cause issues or anything, but it's like, hey, let's work together on this. Let's get this done. Life is frustrating in itself. Let's work together and make sure that we all come together, put our minds together. Sometimes that random outside the box thought does help.
Yeah.
Can't be time wasting most of the time, but
I completely agree with you, Zach. But yeah, let me go ahead and conclude this interview. It's been lovely chatting with you, Zachary. I appreciate you being so fluent with your experience, giving me those details that I was seeking for this interview. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording. Don't hang up on me quite yet. I want to continue chatting with you.
Perfect.
Thank you.